Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to this week's edition of On the Mark, Straight Talk Across the Narrows. I'm Troy Liburd. I'm going to be here with you for 2 hours of uninterrupted talk radio. And of course, I'm sure you would have seen the ads by now because social media has been a buzzing. Because tonight I have two co-hosts with me in the studio. I think the ad referred to them as guests, but I don't think guests justifies what's gonna happen here tonight. I have two co-hosts with me, in none other than the Honorable Spencer Brand and the Honorable Latoya Jones. And in a short while, I'll let them give their introduction and we will go on with the show. But of course, this is On the Mark and we have to do our little introduction routine at the top of the show. So I want to welcome all of our listeners, those of you who are listening to Van Radio. We are live, of course, on 860. You know, Van Radio is the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, and we always have to remember that Van Radio has been with us through thick and thin. I remember as a little boy, when we had hurricanes come in, Van Radio was our lifeline. That's how we knew what was going on. So we love Van Radio. And imagine, as a little boy growing up, I never could have believed that sometime in the future I would be a regular on Van Radio. But that's what the powerhouse means to us here on Nevis. And of course, this is 2022, so you're not just listening to us, you are seeing us live on YouTube, Van Radio's YouTube page. So go to YouTube and type in Van Radio and you can like that page, and you can follow Van Radio on YouTube. Also on Facebook, we're going live on Facebook on Van Radio's Facebook page. So you can not only listen to us, but you can also see us here in the studio. We are all decked out in blue because guess what? It's that time again. We know that, well, let me not preempt myself. Let me continue with my little introduction before I get to that. Of course, this is the People's Show, and at the top of the show, we often like to send out our condolences to those persons who would have suffered some loss, and so we want to send out condolences to the family of Mr. Llewellyn O'Loughlin, and that's right over there in the Jessops area. We have the children Karen, Jacinth, Juliet, Paula, Tuana, and Janelle, and all of the O'Loughlin family. We want to send our condolences to you. And of course, we would have heard of the passing of Jason Cozier, who is one of those characters here in Nevis who we have all gotten to know, and he was somebody who was certainly beloved. So I want to send out condolences to his family, the family up there in Fountain. And I also want to send out condolences to the Dewar family on the passing of Mrs. Viola Dewar. That's in the Hanleys Road area. Everybody in Nevis would be familiar with the very popular Dewar brothers. I want to send out condolences to Alistair, to Lanny, to Renford, to Everett, to Dorlin, and to Fernella. I also want to send some condolences to some of the grandchildren. Alison and I are very, very good, and also Lionel and all of the other family who is mourning. And of course, if you know me, then you will know that my mother is Dewar before she was married and became Liburd. So you know how that is. So I have a little bit of Dewar in me. So this is my family also, and so I would like to send a special condolences to the entire family, and of course to all those on the flip side who are have some cause to celebrate, whether it is a birthday or an anniversary or whatever the occasion. We just had some graduations recently from Charleston Secondary School and from the Sixth Form College. I want to say congratulations to all of the graduates, and also we're going to be having graduations shortly for the Gingerland Secondary School, and I want to take the opportunity, if I don't get an opportunity to come back on the radio, to say a public congratulations to those graduates who will be making that step in another few days at the Gingerland Secondary. As I said a little bit earlier, we're all here decked out in blue because it is certainly that time again. In December 2017, we would have had local elections here on Nevis for the Nevis Island Assembly and for the NIA, the Nevis Island Administration. And of course, you know, at that time, the Concerned Citizens Movement would have been successful in 4 out of 5 seats here on Nevis. Well, last week, Thursday, the Premier would have what they call it in Nevis, rang the proverbial bell. He would have done it in a speech that was carried live on NTV and live all over. It was a very good speech, and so we want to start the show off this evening by replaying the speech, and we want to have the bell rung right here on Van Radio again for a second time tonight. So let's go with the speech.
My fellow citizens and residents, on December 18th, 2017, you went out in overwhelming numbers and elected the Concerned Citizens Movement to serve the island of Nevis. We were then and are today grateful for the opportunity to serve our people. I'm especially grateful that you saw in me the qualities of a servant leader that would serve in your best interests. In the 5 years since then, your government has sought to live up to its ethos of putting our people first. Our accomplishments, despite considerable odds, have been many. It is a record which we can be proud of and which has benefited the people of our beloved Nevis significantly. This government was forced to confront the first global pandemic in 100 years, when the COVID-19 pandemic erupted in March of 2020. For 2 years, our island went through lockdowns and curfews and quarantines. No other government in the history of Nevis has ever had to confront such a calamity. I believe that those 2 years allowed our people to see the true mettle of the CCM leadership in government. We committed early to do all in our power to keep our people safe, to keep our public servants paid in full and on time, and to innovate and find ways and means to combat the effects of the pandemic. To demonstrate leadership and solidarity with our people, every member of cabinet took a pay cut for 3 months, and in my case, I took no salary or benefits as Premier for some 20 months. The pandemic tested our mettle, but with God's grace and guidance, we withstood the worst of times and emerged with the best record of COVID management in the region, with the lowest deaths, lowest hospitalization rate, and among the highest vaccination rates. I am so proud of our cabinet, our frontline workers, and the leadership of our own Dr. Judy Nisbet, who guided our response. In health, we have invested in new ambulances, additional diagnostic equipment, including a brand new state-of-the-art 128-slice Philips CT scan machine, hired and trained additional nurses, hired additional doctors, introduced our first ever ear, nose, and throat specialist clinics for free, purchased new garbage trucks and other equipment for solid waste, introduced a plastic recycling program, opened the island's first ever mental health facility at Prospect, and are currently embarked on the largest ever construction project in the history of healthcare in Nevis, our new hospital at Alexandra, which is scheduled to be completed next year. In education, your CCM government has put in place a maintenance team which has ensured regular maintenance and ongoing upgrades to all of our schools. During COVID, our hard-working team undertook considerable work to retrofit our schools and make them safer for students and teachers alike. We introduced a blended approach, which saw students getting both online and in-person sessions. We provided tablets to students who needed them and internet access for free to homes that had none. Working with the Winsong Foundation, we have secured some 6 new school buses over the past few years, which has allowed us to expand our bus service to our students. This partnership has also seen the delivery of 250 tablets for our students, laptops for our teachers, and music equipment for our NCDF. In our ongoing thrust for greater technical training, we have already constructed a Tibet Center in Gingerland and shall soon construct a larger center in Charlestown. These Tibet centers will allow our people to get technical training and certification in a number of areas right here on Nevis. In agriculture, we have emphasized food security, offered free feed to our livestock farmers, free fish pot wire to our fishers, free seeds, seedlings, fertilizer, fencing, land preparation, shade houses, and water to our crop farmers, expanded our abattoir and the range of products offered there, created a 30-acre fruit orchard at Indian Castle, including the planting of 5,000 coconut palms, transformed the former Taiwanese farm at Cades Bay into an agro-tourism farm, commissioned the Lawrence Parry Storage Depot at Prospect to extend the shelf life of produce and improve the cattle farm at Maddens, including the introduction of new breeds. In water, we have created some 3,030,000 imperial gallons of water storage, installed a treatment plant at Hamilton, which added 216,000 imperial gallons of water per day to our water supply, upgraded the water distribution mains throughout the length and breadth of Nevis, and reduced water outages and disruptions to a bare minimum. In electricity, we have invested significantly in purchasing 2 brand new Wattsiller engines for our power plant at Prospect, which has allowed us to stabilize the power grid and reduce electricity outages to a minimum. Even as the cost of fuel has risen sharply across the world, as a caring government, we took steps to provide significant relief to our people. We have simultaneously pursued the development of geothermal energy, which has new impetus with the assistance of the federal government and the Caribbean Development Bank. Geothermal energy, when harnessed, will free our island home of fossil fuels and make Nevis the greenest place on planet Earth. It will create new industries based on hydrogen and allow us to manufacture fertilizer from ammonia. It will also permit Nevis to export energy to our sister St. Kitts and other neighboring islands. At the proposed 9 cents per kilowatt hour, Nevis promises to have the cheapest and cleanest electricity in the region, paving the way for significant savings for our people and the transition to electric cars and scooters as environmentally friendly means of transport. In housing, we have witnessed a quiet revolution. For the first time in our history, we have housing developments happening simultaneously at Maddens, Cherry Gardens, Craddock Road, Hamilton, University Heights, and Rices. Our housing program through the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation has afforded scores of young people, and especially single mothers, an opportunity to own their own home. Throughout this term, we are building some 170 affordable and medium-income homes and have benefited some 170 families, despite the 2-year hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. In providing social safety nets for our people, I am proud that this government has provided free water, electricity, and bus passes to our senior citizens. We have provided food vouchers, rent support, and other financial support to those among us needing such support. We have expanded our range of counseling and mental health support to our people. We have invested significantly in programs to offer our disaffected youths alternative pathways. On the economy, we have been relentless in creating jobs and diversifying the local economy. I am proud that through a partnership with MSR Media, we have now produced 8 feature films on Nevis, with the release of Christmas in the Caribbean out now. This fledgling movie industry employs some 90 persons locally in good-paying jobs and has resulted in divisions gaining valuable experience in all aspects of filmmaking. When many doubted that we could create a film industry here, your CCM government said, yes, we can. We recognize the tremendous value of the small and micro business sector. This government provided some $5 million seed funding for women and youth-owned businesses, offering low-interest loans to persons who could not otherwise access financing of up to $100,000. Thus far, we have disbursed some $1,987,690.36 to 54 micro and small businesses on Nevis, and we continue to invite women and youth entrepreneurs to apply to our Small Enterprise Development Unit for assistance under this initiative. We waived the 10% alien landholding license real estate fee, allowing realtors to sell more villas on the island. This initiative, since extended to December 2022, has thus far seen real estate sales of over EC $100 million. This in turn has led to considerable construction activity, as many new owners are now retrofitting and modernizing their homes. We remove VAT and customs duties on all construction valued at over $30,000. The result has been a boom in construction, with our planning department reporting some 168 active construction sites currently on Nevis. Our job numbers have been encouraging and show the level of recovery post-COVID. Social Security statistics as of July 2022 show that for the period of July 2021 to July 2022, jobs in Nevis increased by 6.4%. Some 7.1% of the workforce held multiple jobs, an increase of a whopping 54.6% over 2021. Of note is that as at December 2020, when the island was closed due to COVID, total jobs in Nevis stood at 4,600. As at July 2022, the total jobs stood at 5,600, an increase of 1,000 jobs, or 21.7%. While we acknowledge that there is still work to be done, the economic recovery has thus far been phenomenal. In public infrastructure, your CCM government has been able to deliver the beautiful Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park, realizing the vision of the late great Malcolm Gishard. This park has had just over 35,000 visitors since it opened less than 1 year ago. We have now received financing from the Taiwanese government to pursue additional development at Pinner's Beach and expect that work to start in the next 2 weeks. We have undertaken and completed major road projects in Brown Hill, Shaw's Road, Braziers, Hamilton, Farms, and the Island Main Road. Projects at Butler's, Bath, and a second phase of the Island Main Road are ongoing. In each of these projects, except the Island Main Road, we have used our local engineers and contractors and the skilled men and women of our Public Works Department. The days of an NRP premier telling divisions they were not competent to deliver major infrastructure in Nevis are over. Using our own people has allowed skills to develop and has kept significant sums circulating in the local economy instead of being repatriated abroad. Our young contractors can now get work. Our truck and heavy equipment operators can now get work. In addition, we have invested in significant equipment to better build our roads, such as a brand new paver and milling machine at an investment of over $1 million. We are truly building Nevis by us and for us. In sport, your CCM government saw the wisdom in investing in an athletic track facility using the latest technology from Mondo and creating a 9-lane track. This has allowed our athletes the ability to train on a proper IAAF certified surface, which has better prepared them to compete nationally, regionally, and internationally. No more will our athletes be forced to run on grass and dirt at the ETW Park. We have refurbished and are in the process of lighting all sporting facilities in Nevis. We have produced a brand new netball, basketball, and tennis complex at the Grell Stevens facility in Charlestown. We have refurbished basketball courts in Gingerland, Church Ground, Bath, Ramsbury, Jessops, and the Cotton Ground. We have built the VOJ cricket venue and improved the cricket venues at Brownhill and Swamp. In cricket, we have provided financial support to all teams and players representing Nevis and have partnered with our own West Indies great Keith Atherton to inaugurate a training facility at the ETW Park. We saw the wisdom in investing in our water taxi operators and spent roughly $6 million on acquiring waterfront property in Wally and constructing the water taxi pier. This investment by the government has allowed the 100% Navision-owned water taxi business to flourish and has revolutionized travel between Nevis and St. Kitts. We are, even as I speak, building out the reception and office area and acquiring lands for parking. On crime, we have never relented in seeking to tackle this social problem. I am delighted that through a variety of initiatives, working with the federal government, we have dramatically reduced crime, and in particular violent crime, on our beloved island. Our people now move about far more freely and safely than before. Of particular relevance has been our deployment of technology, such as CCTV along our island main road and in Charlestown. We have supported that initiative with a sophisticated CCTV command center which is manned 24 hours each day. Our security forces now have another critical tool to assist in the fight against crime. To further support our security forces, we have built a state-of-the-art police and fire station at Newcastle to replace the dilapidated structure that used to be there. Our police and fire officers are now far more comfortable living and working in a modern building that is fit for purpose. I am proud to advise that we are also in advanced talks to establish a Coast Guard and military base on Nevis for the first time in our history. I am so happy that we have been able to fix long-standing sewage issues for the proud homeowners at Cherry Gardens and ameliorated a potential health hazard there. We have also assisted homeowners in the Golden Grove community in Brownhill. We continue to demonstrate that our people matter most. Given the scarcity of government lands available for development for our people, your CCM government has embarked upon significant land acquisition at Garner's Estate, Herbert's Beach, and Wally, and is currently finalizing a land swap to permit the people of Barnesgot the opportunity to expand their village. To our valued non-national community, your CCM-led government is not once, not twice, but on 3 occasions granted amnesty and reduced work permit costs so that you can regularize your status and be comfortable in your new home of Nevis. Unlike the NRP government, which used to vilify, harass, and deport non-nationals, your CCM government has a policy of inclusion rather than exclusion. Nevis now boasts a multicultural and multiracial society. We cherish you and welcome the contribution you're making to our national development. Our non-established workers have complained for decades that they contribute for sometimes 40 years and then leave empty-handed on retirement. Your CCM-led government has heard the cries and as of September 1st, 2022, has introduced a retirement package for non-established workers. This is intended to bring great relief and comfort to our NE workers in their retirement years. This is a significant achievement as we continue to put people at the center of our development. For our public servants, I am proud that your CCM government has delivered the largest pay increase in the history of Nevis at 15%, payable in tranches of 5% per year over 3 years. We have already paid 5%, and another 5% will be paid on January 1st, 2023, and a further 5% on January 1st, 2024. I'm equally humbled that your CCM government has created history by securing not one, not two, not three, but 4 double salaries for our public sector workers in the past 5-year term, with the 4th such bonus salary being paid just 2 days ago. Our frontline workers who fought to keep us safe during COVID can also look forward to the payment of a $2,000 honorarium on or before November 30th, 2022. This is our way of saying thank you. When our people cried out for the rising fuel surcharge on the electricity bills caused by the war in Ukraine and suppression of supply by OPEC, your government listened, consulted, and responded. We have now removed the surcharge from domestic users and capped it at 65 cents for commercial users. This move has brought tremendous relief to homeowners all across Nevis and is further testimony to our commitment to putting our people first. Your CCM party in government has taken its commitment to women and youth seriously. Our record is a proud one. It was a CCM representative, the Honorable Jean Harris, who was the first woman elected to Parliament in Nevis. Our leader, the Honorable Vance Amory of blessed memory, reached out in 2013 and positioned the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams in the cabinet. When I became Premier in 2017, I again reached out to the Honorable Hazel Brandy and made her cabinet member. Following in that rich tradition, your CCM has recently selected a young woman of Barnes Gut, the Honorable Latoya Jones, and created history by making her the first female senator and deputy speaker in the National Assembly from the island of Nevis. Ms. Jones has now been declared a candidate for the CCM in constituency number 5, St. Thomas's, and we have every confidence that she will bring effective representation to the proud people of St. Thomas's. Your CCM government has also chosen women in succession to function as Deputy Governor General, and I record my deep appreciation to both Her Honor Marjorie Morton and Her Honor Hailita Liburd for their exceptional service to Nevis and the wider Federation. The CCM has not just talked about women empowerment. We have done it and will continue to do it. Brothers and sisters, the past 5 years have seen difficulties and unprecedented challenges. Not only did we have to confront the COVID-19 pandemic, but we were all shocked and deeply saddened at the loss of our Premier of 20 years, the Honorable Vance Amory. We continue to remember his family in our prayers and pledge to continue to build upon the rich legacy of service and sober, sensible leadership that he bequeathed to us in this great CCM party. Against this backdrop of performance, touching every single sector of our society and quality leadership that our island has enjoyed, I have today advised His Excellency the Governor General, after consultation with the Honorable Prime Minister, that the Nevis Island Assembly should be dissolved as of Friday the 25th day of November 2022. Nomination day for the election of representatives to the Nevis Island Assembly shall be Monday, December 5th, 2022. Election day on the island of Nevis shall be Monday, December 12th, 2022. In this election, you will have a clear choice between a solid record of performance of your CCM and government and the promises being made by the other side. I believe that our record has been an exceptional one despite the grave challenges. I commit this CCM party to waging a campaign of ideas and of hope rather than a campaign of vilification and vitriol. I urge you, brothers and sisters, to engage in the process, to listen to the issues, and to make your vote count for the continued development and advancement of this land called Nevis that we're all privileged to call our home. It is now therefore time for the campaign, and I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you in the weeks ahead. May God continue to guide and guard us all, and may His peace and grace be upon you and your household. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there we had it. Calm, sober speech, and then the announcement of the election date. And you know, a young person at the end of their teenage years, I think the young lady is about maybe 17 or so, met me. And she said, I thought the premier was supposed to ring the bell when he announced the election date. I did not know that he could have announced the election date in a speech. I thought he had to ring the bell when he did it. And so I said to the young lady, who is not yet eligible to vote but will be soon, that the premier wanted the opportunity to, in a calm, sober speech, to spell out exactly what it is that his government had been doing over the previous 5-year term. And I think he did a wonderful job at that. And the 17-year-old would have concurred with me. She said yes, he really did say a lot of things, but she was looking forward to the exciting ringing of the bell. So she said she's going to be following the meetings, you know, because the politics is very, very exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We just heard the speech by the Premier of Nevis that he gave last week, Thursday, outlining all of the things, or most of the things, that have happened under his watch from 2017 until now. He stated that the Nevis Island Assembly stands dissolved as of Friday the 25th of November. On Monday the 5th, that's next week Monday, on Monday the 5th, we go to nomination day here on Nevis, and I'm looking for as many people as you can come out in your blue and join our motorcade on nomination day. You remember what happened the last time we had a nomination? Yes. And then on the 12th, we have the big day, election day. And of course we know, on the 12th of December, we are looking for an increased mandate in government, the Concerned Citizens Movement. We are looking for 5 out of 5 seats here on Nevis. It's football season. We have the World Cup going on, so we are looking for 5-0 in Nevis. Of course, you know, I said we have 2 co-hosts here in the studios with us this evening, the Honorable Spencer Brand and the Honorable Latoya Jones, and we're going to have a wonderful time tonight. Let me start by welcoming you both, and I would give the Honorable Latoya Jones to the opportunity to do her introduction.
Good night to everyone who is listening, or those who are viewing via Facebook. I'm happy to be here with my colleagues again on the mark. I know many have been asking where I've been because I haven't been on the platform, but I was a bit under the weather. So it's good to be out, it's good to be back, and I'm looking forward to a fruitful discussion here tonight with my colleagues. Before I go further, I too would like to express my condolences to the O'Loughlin family there in Jessops. I pray that God may comfort and strengthen you during this difficult time. I also want to provide some information on a costume party that the NTA of the St. Thomas's Primary School would be having on the 3rd of December. It starts at 2 p.m. So I'm encouraging everyone to go out and to support the school. As I said, it's a costume party. There will be finger foods and snacks on sale. There would be prizes for most creative boy and girl, best parent and girl costume, and the first 3 boys and first 3 girls would get in free. Again, December 3rd, 2 p.m. I'm asking everyone in all the parishes throughout Nevis to come to the lovely parish of St. Thomas's and support the school. I would like to say the journey so far, yes, I was just recently launched as a candidate, but the journey has been well, and I would like to take this time to express my sincerest gratitude to the leader my colleagues here, Honorable Alexis Jeffers, he's not here, but Honorable Spencer Brand, Honorable Troy Liburd, for the encouragement, for the support that I've been given. It is really an honor to be a part of such great party as we continue to do all that we can to move Nevis forward. We are a party who discusses ideas. We are not a party who makes noise. So I'm happy to be a part of the great CCM party. I know we are up for a fruitful discussion tonight, and for us to share what we've done, or the party has done, and what we intend to do for the development of the people of Nevis. So with that said, I'll pass on to Honorable Spencer Brown until we get further into the discussion.
Thank you very much, Latoya Jones, and a very pleasant good evening to you, Troy. You said co-host, but let me say a very pleasant good evening to all those who are listening and viewing this edition of On the Mark. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here on this Wednesday evening's edition. I want to offer from the outset some birthday greetings to one of my constituents, Miss Eliza Jeffers, who turned 103 today.
Wow.
Now,
That's amazing.
yes, 103. Eliza Jeffers there in Hamilton. We had a little session for her this morning, and she is as strong as a 16-year-old. Her mind is as sharp as ever, and she still have her wit about her. And it was a real good time that we had there in Hamilton this morning with her, her family and members of the social services, and of course my colleague Minister Evelyn. So I just wanted to say a very pleasant good evening to Miss Jeffers, her family, who would have traveled from lands afar to be here to celebrate in this 103rd birthday. So good evening to the family, and good evening to Miss Jeffers there in Hamilton. I also want to take this opportunity to offer words of condolences to a number of families, the Claxton family, Morel Claxton. Morel Claxton has been certainly one of those towering figures in Charlestown, and I really want to say, offer my condolences to his family, Billy and the entire family. He was laid to rest last Saturday, and I really hope that the family can find some comfort in this very difficult period that they are going through. Winston Spencer Lawrence, better known to us as Mello. Mello was one of those gentlemen who would have been, I believe, one of the first truck drivers, or those big truck drivers on the island of Nevis. He have made the transition, and I certainly want to take this opportunity to offer my condolences to his family. Peter Walters, the brother of Gerda and O'Neill and Cassidy and the Walters family there in Grove Park Range. I believe he would have spent quite a number of years in St. Martin. So I want to say to the Walters family how saddened we are on the loss of Peter. I believe he too would have made a significant contribution to us here on the island of Nevis. Of course, the Doe family there in Gingerland, the grandmother of one of my secretary, Miss Alison Doe Arthurton, and the Doe family here in Nevis. Everybody knows the talent in this family. Certainly want to offer my condolences to the Doe family there as well. The O'Loughlin family, Juliet worked for me there at Labour, and I know that they are going through a very difficult period. I also want to offer my condolences to the O'Loughlin family. And Jason, I believe that Nevis is going to be different because Jason is no longer with us. He brought a sense of spirit and vibrancy and creativity here on the island of Nevis. I was really saddened to learn of his passing, and I certainly want to offer my condolences to his family, the Cozier family. Congratulations to all those who would have graduated, and I don't know that I'm a biased person, but I want to say extra special congratulations to my son and my daughter who would have graduated from 6th form and 5th form respectively. It was a very exciting moment, you know, to have two children graduating on the same day, one from 5th form and one from 6th form, and I really want to say congratulations to all of the graduates. But I also want to say congratulations to our teachers. Latoya and Troy, because I think over the last couple of years, our education officials have been tested in a way I believe that no other education official here on the island of Nevis have been tested. And I want to give you some props. You as the Minister of Education, our education officers, or the PEO, all of those persons, the PS of Education, I think that they was able to weather the storm of COVID that allow our children to make it to where they got to on graduation day. Like I said, I had two at the time, and I know how difficult it was. I basically had a front row seat of what it was. There were frustrating times, but I think that the teachers, education officials, all of those support staff, the auxiliary staff, that was able to pull this thing together and get our children to where they were. So I really want to congratulate all of our education officials. I think that they have done a remarkable job despite the very difficult circumstances that they had to work under. And I think they too can take a bow, because they have done extremely, extremely well. Troy and Latoya, like you said, we are going to have a wonderful time here tonight. I've listened to the Premier's address, and to be honest with you, I've heard it 2 or 3 times, but every time I listen to it, I'm still picking up something new. Because the amount of information that he would have provided to the people of Nevis and to the rest of the world, despite the chatter by some that nothing is happening. And I don't understand how some people in their right mind can look at themselves in the mirror and say that nothing is happening, when the Premier took almost a half an hour, and from beginning to end he was able to outline one accomplishment after the other, after another, and after another. But yet there are those who have said and have tried to deceive and mislead the people of Nevis. They have gone overseas as well and tried to mislead and deceive the people of Nevis. But the evidence is clear. This afternoon I just put up a simple progress report on one of my water tank that we are constructing there in Pond Hill. 250,000 gallons. And I hope that the people of Pond Hill, when they hear that there are those who are asking for them to vote for them, saying that nothing is happening, they can go and point to that 250,000 gallon water tank there in Pond Hill and say, well, 250,000 gallon, you call that nothing?
You're not happy I get much vote in Pond Hill.
Well, anyway. So I am really looking forward to tonight's discussion. I think we are going to have a wonderful time tonight, because we have had quite a bit of information here to share with the general public, the listeners and the viewers tonight.
Definitely. I want to thank both of you for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have just a little bit more. I let both of you chime back in, and then we will open the lines. Of course, when the lines are open, the numbers to call are 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. And of course, I want everybody to be direct with their questions tonight, because there are 3 of us here, and we're gonna have a lot of things that we want to also impart to the general public. So we want you guys to be as concise as possible with your questions when the lines are open. So back to you now, Latoya, because you have been chosen as the CCM candidate in the parish of St. Thomas's, and a lot of people have had various things to say, but the parish of St. Thomas's, normally when it comes to Nevis politics, people normally look at St. Thomas's and say, oh, that's a safe seat for the NRP. You could tick off that in the NRP column. But you, as a young person, have come forward and have put yourself up there to say, here am I, send me, and have put up your hand and say, I am going to take on the challenge of St. Thomas's, and that is a brave thing to do. I'm sure there would have been many others in the past, who the party would have approached and so on, and might have looked on it differently. And of course, while I'm here, I want to send a big shout out to Keith Scarborough King, this and that,
Yes.
who
Definitely.
was our soldier and still is our soldier
It's coming
there
around nicely.
in
Yeah.
St. Thomas's for many years. Of course, a real CCM man, Keith Scarborough, and Nevis's most consistent Calypsonian. I like to say that, Keith Scarborough MBE. So, King, wherever you are, we want to send a big shout out to you, and continue to rest up and get well soon. So as I was saying, a lot of other persons probably might have been approached about it, years gone by and so on, and not everybody has been so brave as you have been, a young person putting yourself out there. So how has the reception been from the people of St. Thomas's? Tell us a little bit about what your experience has been like as a CCM person going out there into St. Thomas's. And when you listen to people talk now, there's no more talk about safe seat. That's something that we got to put that out there from the start, because there's no more talk now about safe seat. We hear them coming and saying that they're about to get militant in St. Thomas's and they're going to defend
at all
St.
costs.
Thomas's at all costs. And who would have thought, just a few years back, that we would ever hear anything like that? And I think that a big part of that difference has been the coming of Latoya Jones to St. Thomas's and to the to elections and to the race in St. Thomas's. So tell us a bit about your experience.
Okay, so my experience in St. Thomas's has been good. I was here on the mark before, and I did mention it was only one time that I've had, I don't even really want to speak on it, but I had an event, and a young lady, Judy Cornelius, came there, and her behavior to me was unacceptable, because we were just having an on the block event, which is to support small businesses. And if she wanted to participate in the event, I would have had no problems with that. But the way in which she behaved to me was unacceptable. Well, that is bygone. Let us dwell more on the positive. The feedback in St. Thomas's has been well. And I must say, I'm from St. Thomas's, grew up in St. Thomas's, still live in St. Thomas's. And so the people of St. Thomas's know Latoya Bianca Jones. We can relate, because I too, like many persons there, I didn't grow up with a gold spoon, as we would say. I grew up in a large family, poor family, and so we all grew up pretty much together. And so the people in St. Thomas's are able to relate to me more. They are also knowledgeable about the different activities that I've done in St. Thomas's. And I must say these activities have been a success. And I do want to thank the people of St. Thomas's for participating and attending the various projects that I've done there. The projects are done to help to bring people together, to offer opportunities to our people, and that is all that I've always set out to do. And I think people recognize that I'm genuine about it. I'm not here for self. I am here to serve the people of St. Thomas's and also the people of Nevis. And some of the projects that I've done, the On the Block initiative, which was to support small businesses and to bring the people in the community together as well. I have had a Mother's Day luncheon twice, and when I see the mothers come to that event, they feel so appreciated, so loved.
Where is your Mother's Day luncheon?
It's at Sunshine.
Sunshine?
At Sunshine.
That's a big step. Yes.
And I want to thank Sunshine year after year for accommodating me and my team. But I want to say that these activities are activities that I have done from my resources and from seeking sponsorship to get them done because I really wanted to make a difference in St. Thomas's. And to me, that is my goal. That is what I keep focus on. So I tend to ignore all the noise. I've been hearing things and I know persons are waiting for my response, but I will not respond to any noise. I will stay focused on what I'm here to do, and that is to serve the people of St. Thomas's. So like I said, the Mother's Day Luncheon has been a success. We have had 120 mothers in the last 2 years. So I think it's about that.
That's very good.
And so it's been well. That is one initiative. Easter usually comes up, all the children are looking forward to receiving their kites. And I'm happy when I go around to deliver the kites and the children are so excited. It is the smiles on the faces, the joy in their hearts, to me, that matters. I get my happiness from seeing the people in my area happy. That's one. The St. Thomas Parish Youth Excellence Awards is another initiative that I've done in St. Thomas's, and it's to recognize the contribution of our youth in different areas. And to me, those are things that we need to focus on. Those are things that are important and not the noise. Noise doesn't put food on somebody's table. It doesn't help us pay our bills. It doesn't send somebody off to school. To me, we just need to focus on the different activities and the plans that would advance the lives of our people. And the St. Thomas Parish Youth Excellence Awards is one of that. You give recognition to youth where it is due. And so we've had that. That has been at the Jew Jobs restaurant there in Catesby. So I do want to thank Marcella as well and her staff for accommodating us. We've had several domino, and I will say we because I'm a part of a team and I work with a group of outstanding individuals, amazing individuals who continue to push me. So we've had many social events, pool tournament, I know many persons engage in a domino competition, but I have done pool tournaments, both Barnscott pool tournament and the St. Thomas Parish pool tournament. So those two works are a success. We've seen the crowds and persons are even asking for an island-wide pool tournament, but I guess all of us, meaning all the colleagues, can probably pull together and have that initiative. But I can say that it has definitely been well in St. Thomas's. When it comes to the campaign, I can go through many more activities, but I want to talk about the campaign and canvassing and visiting. For me, I've been going door to door for a long time. I've been a part of the federal campaign with Mr. Jeffers in Nevis 11, and I've been listening to the concerns of the people. And what I try to do is to help. When I go canvassing, I don't pick and choose. I knock on everybody's door and I said, I am here to find out if you have any issues or concerns, and I will try my best to help you. I don't make promises that I can't keep, but I would make an effort to try. I don't ask you whether you're NRP or you're CCM, because at the end of the day, we all live here in Nevis and we should all benefit. So that has been one of the things that I've been doing, and I think persons or people in St. Thomas's, they're very appreciative of that. Because sometimes politics can be it's very divisive, and that is what I love about the CCM team. We are not divided. We bring people together and we help everyone, no matter the party politics. We help everyone. So that is why I'm happy to be a part of that team. So for me, it's been going well. I haven't been on the platform, as I mentioned before, for the last few meetings because I was a bit under the weather. I attended, I think, the last... But
you will be coming out tomorrow.
Oh, yes. We'll be in Chronic Road. Yes. Chronic Road.
Not that I'm cutting Latoya in her stride, but I want to say, Troy and Latoya, that Latoya have come to CCM and have created a kind of spark and a buzz in CCM to see that the NRP is saying that they are prepared to defend St. Thomas's at all costs, it shows the quality of Miss Jones.
Yes.
Now, I want to go back a bit because it goes back to the leadership of our party leader and the kind of scouting that must have been done to identify this young woman. Now, if you look at the history of CCM under the leadership of Vance Amry was able to also identify some really good talent.
Very true.
Really good talent. When you think about the talent that the former premier of blessed memory would have identified in the person of Mark Brantley, when you think of the talent of Eric Evelyn, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, when you think of the talent of the Honorable Alexis Jeffers,
and don't leave out yourself.
well, I don't like to talk about myself, right?
Well, let me say.
I'm getting to the point.
Let me say it before you get to your point. When you think of the talent of the Honorable Spencer Brand,
but the point I'm trying to make, Troy, is that a lot of people have been trying to dissect and understand what CCM is all about. CCM has always been about identifying talent, and that is why this party has been so successful in government and even in opposition when they have been in opposition, right? Ms. Jones just coming on the scene a few years ago, and to hear that St. Thomas's is saying that they will defend St. Thomas's at all costs, it shows that the talent that the premier was able to identify, and a lot of credit must go to the premier in following. I don't know if the former premier might have left the secret with him in terms of how you go about identifying talent, but I think he was able to identify Miss Jones as a very good talent, brought her into CCM, and that is why St. Thomas's is now saying, listen, we have a problem here. Same thing in St. John's, same thing in Gingerland, same thing in St. James's. Nurse Jean left on her own terms. Alexis Jeffers took over, and he has carried the mantle. Right?
Definitely.
St. Paul has always been a challenging constituency for CCM, but we have made significant strides
we are moving in the right direction.
And it goes to the talent that has been identified by the former premier, and the current premier. He probably was left the secret from Vance Winkworth. I believe that they have had a conversation about trying to identify the talent, and then everything would move forward.
Definitely. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay. But I want to add to that, because when I listened to the video of what was said about defending St. Thomas's at all costs, I was like, you know something is wrong. And you know that the NRP is not comfortable anymore in St. Thomas's.
Well, I'll tell you what it is, I believe that as time has gone by, the people of Nevis have recognized it has happened in all of the other parishes, and it is now happening in St. Thomas's, that the people of Nevis have recognized that the Concerned Citizens Movement, when you think about Nevis, the Concerned Citizens Movement is always a party that is out there standing up for the people of Nevis and standing with the people of Nevis. At every single turn, we are always with the people of Nevis. And when they look at the contrast to what has happened with the NRP in recent times, we remember that episode with Labour around the 2009-10, that time, and then we realize after even the formation of Unity, and we realize that the former Prime Minister started to become adverse towards Nevis, and we realized that the NRP started gravitating to the former Prime Minister. And I think that people in Nevis, they understand the politics, and they realize what has been happening. And I don't think that St. Thomas's, that people feel good to know that they're out there on the outside looking in. People realize that that CCM is good for Nevis. And when you look at the majority of the electorate in Nevis, they realize that the best way forward for Nevis is CCM. When we listen to the speech by the Premier outlined numerous things that would have happened here on the island of Nevis.
We stick to the plans.
And you notice we have not gone back from 2013, you know.
It's from
these things are, for the most part, are from 2017 until now. And then we also have to consider that we lost between a year and a half to 2 years due to COVID. Spencer, I remember when we were in the cabinet in 2019, when we were getting towards budget coming into December 2019.
I remember those discussions.
Everybody in cabinet was very, very bullish,
very excited.
About 2020. You remember the Premier came to cabinet and he told us about the report from Four Seasons at the time, that they were looking at having their best season ever in 2020. They were booked until I think somewhere down in May of 2020.
Yes.
And then in comes COVID, and all of that, you know, was just
overnight.
And COVID was not something that anybody could control. So when we look at all of the accomplishments that we have been able to achieve, and I heard you in Hamilton, Spencer, and I must commend you again on radio, because you know people called me for days after that and they said, "Why, what happened to Spencer? Spencer went on bad in Hamilton." I didn't know so much things. I didn't know so much things CCM do, and I didn't know so much things happen in town, you know. And when you look at those things, even your performance, Spencer, in town, and you temper it with the fact that we had to deal with COVID, you know, it is just remarkable. So I think while we're at it, I'll let you give a little bit of the rundown on some of those things that happen in town, and then we'll open the lines and take a few calls, and we'll continue the discussion.
Well, you know, Troy, before the meeting in Hamilton, I was there doing some stuff, and I said, let me start to write down a few stuff for the meeting in Hamilton, because I wanted to make sure I put a lot of the facts on the table. And you know, I really had to stop, because I even surprised myself. Because you know, you go about you go about your daily business, and you go about doing the thing for the people and so on. But when you start to write them down, I said, but wait, I didn't realize that we did that. I didn't realize that was accomplished. I didn't realize that, you know, and when you start to list them, and I said, but wait, 400,000 gallon water tank in Hamilton. And some people have the courage to say that is nothing.
And you know, not to cut you off, but sometimes we take things for granted here in Nevis, you know. Every now and again, once in a blue moon, water might go off, or we might have a little water shortage. But for the most part, we have been able to ensure that on a regular basis, that almost all of Nevis, I don't want to say 100%, so I'll say at least 95 to 98% of Nevis is covered by you know, public water. And in other islands that are considered to be more developed than us, for instance Barbados and so on, people have to take a shower by a certain time in the morning, because they know water is going to go off by a certain time in places like Antigua and so on. Not to call down any other island, but we have sort of, we are so accustomed to perfect that anytime the least little thing happen, we complain. But we have been doing very, very well here in Nevis, you know.
Yes, I think that you're correct, Troy, that oftentimes we take things for granted. We are accustomed that when we get up in the middle of the night or any time of the day, you turn on your tap and you have water. But oftentimes I'm not sure if the general public realize the Herculean task behind getting that water to them. We have guys working 24/7. We have miles and miles of pipes. We have all of these storage facilities. We have wells. We have a lot of moving parts. And sometimes it takes one little mishap in this whole system that create a lot of headache for the whole island. I remember sometime in the drought, you're trying to move water from one side of the island to the other side of the island, and you have to balance out. And oftentimes, I am not sure if the general public really appreciate what it is that the water department and the ministry has to do to make sure that we keep the pipe flowing. And it is something, Troy and Latoya, that we intend to continue to build upon and to improve upon. We intend to continue to expand our water drilling program, and we are looking at various options. There is some consideration about desal, whether we are going to go to desal or whether we are going to continue with our deep well drilling. So my thinking is, and my idea is, that we want to make sure that 12 months of the year, every day of the year, that we can have 24 hours water supply for the people of Nevis, and that is what we are working towards, whether it's in the dry season or whether we are in the rainy season. So like I said, 400,000 gallons right there in Hamilton. Some people say it's nothing. You know, I would like to tell all those folks who think that nothing has been done in just take a drive up in Hamilton. Look at the water infrastructure that we have placed in Hamilton. 400,000 gallon tank. We have replaced the roof on the old stone tank. We have installed a water filtration system. We have fenced the entire property. So Hamilton is now one of our premium source of water on the island of Nevis.
And it secures water to the town area.
Exactly. Oftentimes we used to have the challenge of moving water all the way from Gingerland into town, and we are now trying to mitigate against that. That water tank that we are now building in Pond Hill, that is also going to bring some relief to Church Ground, Vaughan Pasture, Pond Hill, all the way over to Bath Village. Again, building redundancy in the system. And some people say that that's nothing.
Well, you know, what can we say? We just got to keep on moving. There's a whole lot. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at 10 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Of course, this is a 2-hour show, and it is the People's Show. So I want to open the lines and give our listeners the opportunity to call in. We have Latoya Jones here with us tonight and Spencer Brand, and I'm sure they're willing and able to answer any questions that would come or any thoughts that you want to share with us. So the lines are open. Numbers to call: 869-469-1616 or 1700. We have our first call for the evening. Caller, good evening. You are on the mark.
Hi, good evening, Honorable Troy Liburd, and good evening to the Honorable Spencer Brand and the Honorable Latoya Jones. This is Mark Brantley calling from...
I know the voice sound familiar, you know? Good evening, Doc. How are you?
Good evening.
I'm good. Listen, Eric, Evelyn, and I are over in St. Kitts. We are at the Remarkable Teens, 25 Remarkable Teens presentation. The Honorable Alexis Jeffers couldn't be here with us, but I know he's here with us in spirit. And we have just completed making some presentations. So some truly remarkable young people from Nevis. I want to congratulate them and congratulate all the 25 remarkable teams. But I'm calling in because I didn't want to miss the show, and so I stepped outside to call in to just say how proud I am of this CCM team, the range of accomplishments that the Honorable Spencer Brand would have outlined and continues to outline, the range of accomplishments that this government has had in the last 5 years, despite losing 2 years to COVID, and certainly the vibrancy and energy that young Latoya Jones has brought to the ticket. I really feel proud to have been allowed to lead a team such as this in a time such as this. Nevis is at a critical crossroads where we're now trying to chart our recovery from the difficulties of COVID, and I believe that we are the best team, a team that people know and understand that they can rely on. I have never suggested that we're perfect, but I've always suggested that we're perfectly in love with this beautiful island of Nevis and with the people of Nevis. And we will
Absolutely.
continue to try in our own way to serve the people and to do so to the best of our ability. I realize that the other side is out there, but just today I had a program and I was asked, could I comment on the ideas coming from the other side? And I had to be honest to say that I have not yet heard any ideas. And so we are in a strange campaign because we have one party campaigning on its record and setting out its ideas for the future. Another party which is engaged with vitriol and attack. And I believe that the people of Nevis, in whom I've always placed my trust, understand the difference. They understand quality. They understand what is real. They understand that in the CCM, they have a party that looks out for their best interests. And one need only look at the accomplishments. One need only look at the various projects. One need only look at the fact that our public servants have had 4 double salaries in 5 years under this government. That they have had the largest pay increase in the history of the public service in Nevis. And that even now, some are celebrating the fact that they obtained an honorarium that was paid to our frontline workers. We have introduced, of course, a retirement package for any workers that Spencer Brand himself knows well because he pushed hard, along with colleagues, to ensure that our any workers would leave with something when they retire. And so we have worked hard for our people, putting our people at the center of everything we do. And we think Latoya Jones coming to the team is a breath of fresh air. And that the people of St. Thomas's, after all these years, will now also join with the Concerned Citizens Movement and ensure that we have all 5 seats represented in the Parliament, in the Cabinet, and that we will re-elect a CCM government. I wanted to say that. I think it's important. I couldn't be there physically in terms of being on the show, but I want the team members to know that I love you. I appreciate very much the support over these years and the commitment that we have as a team. We are rock solid. There are no difficulties in this team, and we are presenting the best possible team. A blend of experience and youth. As I like to say, we're old enough to know, but still young enough to do. That's what we are offering to the people of our beloved Nevis. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm sure many others would want to call in. And I do have to get back inside to the Parliament, but I wanted to come outside and lend my voice to this very important program as we get ready for the polls on December 12th. I'm of course asking the people to go out in their numbers and to vote for the Concerned Citizens Movement.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. You know, so I think that the general public can appreciate, while we are a cabinet, we have a leader, right? That even though we often give 100%, he's gonna still say, I want 120%, you know.
Definitely.
And he's one who keep driving us and pushing us and trying to get the best out of us. So I think that oftentimes, you know, I often just wish sometimes that people can really get a kind of insight into what we do in cabinet, because our leader,
you know what I like about what he was just saying there? Everything was people centric.
Yes.
People matter more.
Yeah, it's all about doing what we can and what we must for our people. And I think that the island of Nevis and the people of Nevis must appreciate the quality of leadership that we
hold
have.
a second, we have a caller. Let's go back to the lines. Okay, we've lost our caller. Callers, please be patient with us. I don't want to be cutting off anybody in mid-thought, so please be patient with us. Call back in. We look forward certainly to your calls and to your ideas. We have another caller. Caller, you are on the mark. Good night.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
Yes, good evening.
And Mr. Brand and Miss Jones.
Good evening.
Thanks for taking the call. I'm listening. Now, my reason for calling is because of what Mr. Brand has been saying about the water situation in Nevis, and more importantly, the provision that he has made to have like some thousands of gallons of water in the Pondil area. Now, what I would say to Mr. Brand is that he must beat that drum until he cannot beat it anymore. because the people who are saying that that's nothing, that no nothing, as they would say, did not live in the era or even were born in the era when one would stand up at those water, old pump, whatever they were,
yes,
for almost a day, with the water running like a needle. It would take hours to fill one bucket. I know about that because I lived it. I have left Nevis some time now, but I remember that period of time when if you got a bucket of water standing at a pipe stand or whatever they called it at the time,
yes, it goes
after
down.
4 hours, you were lucky. So the ones who are now saying that no nothing, they see nothing, whatever they're saying, they did not exist at the time when Nevis was really, really hard when it came to water. So Mr. Brand, continue to beat that drum, because you're making sense to those of us who existed at the time when there was nothing called a good day for water in Nevis. All right, and that's all. And Ms. Jones,
Hello.
I am hoping for the best for you as well.
Thank you.
Do your very best that you can, and you will come out victoriously.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. Bye.
Well, caller, thank you so much for that. You are so right. I am a child of the 70s, and I too had to get a bucket and walk down by the police station right there next to Daki's and fill up that bucket before I go to school. And if that dam was empty, I had to walk all the way down by the Anglican church right next to the Alexander Hamilton house, and sometimes that is empty as well. So you are absolutely correct. And you know, Troy and Latoya, the caller is so right. I think that sometimes we take things for granted.
Definitely. I had a little touch of it. we used to go for water on donkeys.
But I heard the stories because my grandmother told me about them.
So you know, we have a dam right there by Hunkins. We had one there, and the caller is so right. I think that we often look at these things, and when we say that this has happened, and for people to say that nothing has happened, the caller is absolutely correct. We have to drive it into them and beat it in them to let them know that something has actually happened on the island of Nevis when it comes to water.
Okay, let's go back to the lines. We have another caller holding. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good evening, Troy.
Yes, good evening. I think I know this voice.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing pretty good, and thanks for holding down the fort tonight. I know you're doing a great job.
You know how it is, but good company makes it very easy.
Yes. Let me say good night to Latoya, who is there with you, and Spencer, who is there with you.
Good evening, my brother. How are you?
Okay, good. I'm doing pretty good. And of course, I think the Honorable Mark Brandy would have called in before the premiere. And we are here in St. Kitts here at the 25 Most Remarkable Teens event. And let me first of all congratulate the 25 recipients, and in particular the 6 recipients from the island of Nevis. Of course, we are delighted to be here to present to those awardees from Nevis. But I'm calling in tonight to just say how pleased I am once again to be a candidate for the Concerned Citizens Movement in the upcoming election. And gentlemen and lady, I think that the Concerned Citizens Movement is on a roll. I've never been more confident of an election. And I have looked into my crystal ball, and I believe the CCM will come away with a landslide victory. I want to say thanks to the constituents of St. George Gingerland, because I've been out in my constituency practically every day, and the reception has been overwhelming. I want to say thanks for the very warm reception of the constituents of Gingerland, and I'm very confident that once again they will speak and speak loudly. And I'm also confident that the constituents of the other constituencies will speak and speak loudly come the 12th of December. Now, before the Remarkable Teen event started this evening, we were taking some photos. And when I went to take my photograph, the premier said, Eric, man, that looked like a victory smile. I said, well, yes, I am practicing for the 12th of December. And he said, no, well, it's the 13th. I said, well, it's the 12th, because I know my seat will be declared on the 12th. So am very confident, and I know that the confidence level is booming in our camp. And I want to tell the good people of Nevis that you are safe with the Concerned Citizens Movement. Do not gamble with your future. We have chronicled our achievements and we are running on our record. Our record is unbeatable, and it is unbeatable throughout the entire island of Nevis. And irrespective of what anyone else has to say, the evidence is there to prove. Because everything we do and everything we say, we back it up with evidence. And we always come with the evidence, and we always come with the facts, and we always come with the truth. And that is undisputable. And so I want to encourage the good people of Nevis to stick with the Concerned Citizens Movement. Stick with your 5 candidates. In Nevis 1, we're sticking with the only brand in town. In Nevis 2, the Honorable Mark Brantley. Of course, his record is there to show. His record is there to prove what a remarkable leader he has been for the island of Nevis. In constituency 3, there is only one option. There is only one choice, and it is yours truly. And over in constituency number 4, Alexis Jeffers, hard-working minister, always on the ground, always very visible, and we have to cast our vote for Alexis. And of course, in constituency 5, we will be bringing home the 5th. We already have 4, and we're bringing home the 5th come the 12th of December. And so we're asking the people of St. Thomas's Parish, go out in your numbers, all the way with LBJ. And so I believe that on the 13th, I am confident, and I know on the 13th of December, it will be the Concerned Citizens Movement that will be at the helm of government again in Nevis. Folks in Nevis, CCM will give you you will give yourself a wonderful Christmas with a brand new CCM Nevis Island Administration government. Gentlemen and lady, it has been my pleasure calling in. I want you to enjoy the rest of the show. Let me say once again a very warm, wonderful evening to all of the folks who are listening in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and further afield. And you all continue to hold it down, and I know that you're doing a marvelous job there and on the mark tonight.
Thank you, Honorable Evelyn. I mean, I think people are hearing it, and the message is resonating that CCM is a party with a plan.
We have another caller. We'll stick with the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good evening. Hello, good evening. You're on the mark.
Pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Pleasant good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Carl Brown here from Fountain and St. Kitts.
How are you, brother?
Ghana Park in Fountain. And I remember the days in Ghana Park, and only the top of Fountain had paved road. Ghana Park was dirt and stone, and when you're going on a night and you were stomping your toe, and you only had like 1 to 2 lights going on there, and we had to walk from Wrigley Shop after liming and staying out with your uncle at night time. You're going on and you're stomping your toe. And those were the days when you were talking about jack-o'-lantern and those things. And I remember the days that I had to walk from down Ghana Park and go up to Frida Shop, which is now we call Wrigley Shop. We call Tabby Shop. And I had to head 3 buckets of water. 2 was in my hand, and 1 was on my head, with bush in it, with a wad underneath the 3rd bucket, and a quarter of red butter, and a pound or half pound of back neck under my arm. And I had to hide them from Frida Shop, down past Miss Nisbet, down to my grandmother, down Ghana Park. So when people saying that Nevis haven't come anywhere, we have come from far.
We have come a long way.
I was there in the days of lodging. I had to carry up my lodging, and I had to take them up before rain come. And I was in the days of grass bed, grass pillows, and I was in the days of the curtain with a string gantry. And we safe with all the wheels in it, and the money come out at Christmas time when guests come. And I remember the days that when we eating and guests come, your grandmother call you and take out your relish and put it in the rest food for the guests because no more relish was there. So me Carbon just come. Carbon was there long time. And in the days when we had to count the goats them when they come in, and go take up the egg from behind the latrine where you dare to in and when the fowl done lay. We had come far and we had spout and our house with a drum with a white cloth over it to catch the dust where the water could go down in the drum. And you have to help your uncle with the cattle. You have to help you have to go on the bed or pull up boat when your uncle them come in and Frankie and them come in from fountain and get the little fish them and come home and clean them and help feed your family. So we have come from a long way. And when the days of Mr. Jeffers was on heart as the postman in fountain. And when Wiggly chop, when we chop them from fountain, go to town and come back, and he go only one trip. He go in the morning, come back in the night. And when we have to catch Benson chop and go all the way up.
My brother, you're full of story tonight, you know. And
I come from Sabah.
I just get some goosebumps listening to you, you know. All these things that you say.
We used to go buy those water to get cattle to carry to St. I was in those days. Benson from Fountain, he's now gone to the great beyond. I went to Combermere School when Mr. Cole used to teach me and Teacher Brown from down Clarence. So me come from way back, and Combermere School at the time was stone and clay and dirt, and we play football barefoot, and we had to walk to school barefoot. There was nothing from our grandmother. We had to pick salsa, and we had to pick mango in the gut for our lunch and breakfast.
Man,
so we had come out way back, and that was 2 miles from Fountain down to Combermere School walking,
That's true. But
so we have come from way
back there to where we are now.
We have moved tremendously up the ladder. But what I want to say is that we may be looking at a clean sweep, you know.
I like that.
And you guys don't have to take me up because every election I tell you guys what is going to happen. So this time around you guys don't have to take me out for lunch or dinner.
I agree.
I'm gone, guys.
Once the clean sweep come.
Well, Troy, I'll tell you, you have a caller? I think that the caller, once again, has hit the nail on the head. Him outlining, like I said, I'm a child of the 70s, so I experienced most of what he spoke about. And I think that for persons who want to come and be in the leadership of this country, and are prepared to stand up to the people and say that nothing has happened in Nevis, it means one of two things. It means that they are either blind or they are being dishonest. And I don't know them to be blind. It means that they are being dishonest. And I want to say to the electorate on the 12th of December, forget about dishonest people. And your choice must be and should be and ought to be the Concerned Citizens Movement Party. The caller said we're going to have a clean sweep, and I agree with him.
That is what it should be, you know, because CCM is a party that has been working on behalf of the people of Nevis, and we have so much plans. You know, Spencer, after you sent me the list of all that you had done, I sat down and I said, well, let me write down a couple of the things.
You know how many people called me for that information?
Yeah.
How kind of people said, boy, you send me that because they didn't realize.
I wrote down a list of what we did in education, just the stuff to the physical buildings and so on.
Yeah.
And it's a long list. We have another caller. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hi, good night.
Yes, good night.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to say good evening to my representative. Good evening, Mr. Liburd, and good evening to my adopted daughter.
Good evening.
I like that.
I'm listening and I like it. I like how you kept them with the pants down. And that is all I have to say. Have a blessed night.
Thank you very much, caller.
As I was saying before the call before, CCM is a party that is about plans. And we are about representing the people. And for me, I want people to pay attention to records. And especially, let me talk to the people of Nevis 5. Compare the records. I mean, even before politics or someone entering politics, people who truly and genuinely want to serve should have been involved. Wrong or right?
You're correct.
Absolutely.
They should have been involved before, not just become involved because somehow they felt that they were given a safe seat.
We have a caller. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hi, good night. I would
Yes,
just
go
like
ahead.
to say thank you to the team of Nevrek. After almost 5 months, they came yesterday and they fixed the light by Charleston Primary School.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for
I
that.
did call in last week about that.
Yes, I did.
Yes, I'm happy that
Almost 5 months, but they came yesterday.
well, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, as I was saying, I think it is important for us to recognize these things. And for me, I want to say, because it is facts, I've been involved in my community since I've become an adult, or even before, because I've been involved in track and field, representing my country locally, regionally. And from since coming out of school and working, I've been making my contributions back to my community in Nevis 5. I've been ever present at the St. Thomas's Primary School. I would go there to give speeches, encouragement to the children. I would soon be there to encourage the inter-primary team. But these are things I think that we should be involved in.
We have another caller? Oh, we've lost that caller.
We
Continue.
apologize. Okay. So I'm saying I've been involved a long time, and for me, I want to speak about this because what hurts me is the fact that the principal at the school and has been, attacked. We went there to do a painting initiative before school opened, and to me, gathering persons from the community to paint the school was really a good thing to do, and we wanted to give back to our alma mater. And the opposition sought to attack the principal, and she's innocent. And every time I go to the school, they would make it an issue. And for me, I cannot understand why, because that is my alma mater. That is where I am from. That is, for me, my foundation. And so I've always made it my business, way before politics, to be involved with the school and to give back as much as I can.
Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead. We're hearing you.
Yes, good evening, Good evening, Latoya.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Brand.
Good evening, dear.
Mr. Brand, today I was listening to a radio station here in St. Kitts, right? And I hear the lady running against you saying Nevis people suffering. I wonder what she really saying, because
Nevis people suffering?
That's what she's saying. Yeah. I wonder what she really saying, because the leader for NRT have a brother who have a young man from Church, my brother Calvin Prentice, suffering for the past 12 years. My brother was on his job site get his skull cap cracked, had to go to Barbados to put a hard plastic over his brain. And up to today, not 1 cent from that man. And then she's saying, leave these people suffering. Huh? The case went all the way to London. They turned him down. The judge ordered him the other day to pay, to compensate the young man, my brother, and up to now, not a cent. And then she's saying, leave these people suffering. Yes, they're suffering because my brother is suffering. My brother is suffering. And it's to the leader of NRP brother. And my brother suffering. Not a cent up to now. Thanks to the family and friends who had to help my brother go to Barbados. And not a cent he did that young man. When my brother gets in the incident, he up the hospital crying. I have to help 16. 16 was my best worker. And up to now, nothing he gives 16. But I know he's going to have to pay 16 because the judge decision always final. He's going to have to compensate Calvin. Don't care how we appeal and appeal and appeal. The judge's decision is final and he had to compensate my brother because my brother won't be suffering and he's living his lavish life. You understand me?
Carla, we could definitely hear the pain in your voice, you know.
And pain me very much.
Yes, I know. How is he doing though? I haven't seen him in a little while. How is he doing though?
The doctor report that my brother can't walk again. Cannot walk again. Get his skull cap cracked. Had to go to Barbados to put a hard plastic to cover his brain. My brother was in a coma in the hospital. And he compensate me brother, he ain't give me brother nothing. And it happened and he job. And one more than that you want. They're shedding more crocodile tears about I had to look after 16. 16 had to go to Barbados, nothing he did the boy. Nothing. But I want him to know you have to compensate my brother.
Okay, Carla, we can definitely hear the pain in your voice, and we certainly sympathize with you.
Latoya, all the best on the 12th. Rally behind you.
Thank you.
Yes, and we wish you all the best also.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Carla, thank you very much. You know, I just find it strange. The candidates for the NRP, and you notice we don't spend too much time on them, but they have been frequenting these radio shows in St. Kitts. And every time they go on the radio show, it's to try to belittle Nevis. And you would have heard the caller say that your opponent Spencer is in St. Kitts saying that Nevis people suffering. We would have heard the Premier's opponent go down and say she want to call on the supervisor to send over people to be the polling.
To run the election.
Yes, basically
to have the election.
The election here in Nevis, because I guess the people in Nevis who run in the election are not honest. And you know, these are the people who want to come to Nevis people and say, hey, elect us to represent you. And at every opportunity they get, they're always doing something to insult Nevis people. Imagine they're not even in government yet. They don't have the reins of proverbial power. And I don't like to use the word power, you know, because power is not something that you want to wield over anybody. No. But they're not even in any type of office, and they're already acting this way. You could imagine if Nevis people were to make a mistake and vote for these people, how they would treat people in Nevis. It's not something that I would want to think about. We have a caller. We have a caller holding. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are on the mark. Good evening.
Yes, let me tell you that Nevis people are listening themselves, right? You work all your life for what you have, and because your property might look a bit better than theirs, they're going to throw rubbish in your yard, rubbish at your gate. They're claiming, coming and taking off your land and saying that the 10 feet are theirs and they haven't bought anything from you. I've lived here all my life, almost, and I haven't sold anything. And yet I have Guns, Guyanese, everybody else coming and trying to destroy my property. At my time of life, Nevis need to do something about this because it's wrong. It's too many wrongdoing. It's too many thieving and all sorts of things going on here. People need to work for what they want and stop stealing from others. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much, Carla, and we can certainly hear the pain in your voice and the passion in your voice, and I would hope that whatever the instance is that you're speaking about, that you do get some resolution to the problem. We're about 17 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. Where has the time gone? We have another caller. These calls are just coming. We have Taya is here with a long list of things to talk about.
We could discuss the
but let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Cry me again.
Yes, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
When I hear Pat say one time on the radio that thinking people should come over to help Nevis with the election, I said, what kind of craziness this woman talking? You think we need these people when thinking that election, we're going on the help to help thinking people with the election, but to say they're ready yet, they will come last. Because with all five we taking.
But you know, but caller, I don't know if you are still there, but Latoya and Joy, CCM really have a totally different philosophy when it comes to Nevis and Nivisions. We have always said that Nivisions are competent, just like anybody else. Mm-hmm. We are capable, just like anybody else.
Everybody is capable to run the election.
We have had one of the most distinguished supervisors of election in the federation for a very, very long time.
Yes,
and
I agree.
I mean, sometimes when I listen to these people, I just wonder if. Anyway, I mean,
what are they watching?
They're ready to catch with the pants down.
But caller,
you remember how we used to get some half used to come last, or so she don't come last.
Go ahead, Spencer.
Caller, see the caller left. This caller is still there? Well, I just want to see.
Running out which water, I'm going to some water, so I see you.
Alright, you have a good night.
Listen, caller, I just want to say to the people of Nevis, right? We are having a little fun here tonight, but we are very serious, right? We are very, very serious about this election. Because the truth is, and the evidence would show, and the facts would show, that CCM is definitely the better party for the administration of the affairs of Nevis. Our record is here to prove that, and the other side is not really giving much for people to seriously consider. Right? We are running on our record, and we are saying to the people of Nevis what our plans are, what our initiatives will be, and I am not really certain as to what the other side is saying. The lady that is running against the premier. Anyway.
It's a lot of I think Alexis said it well, Alexis said that on our side it's a lot of ideas, coherent speech, cogent arguments being put forward, and on the other side we're hearing a lot of rah, and we can't discern what they're saying. Let's go back to the lines. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good evening.
Yes, good evening to you, Troy. Namesake.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you, Mr. Brand and Lataya.
Good evening, sir.
You have a lot of gum, man. The bank could seem like to produce some real yam and tanya, man.
Champions from Basgo.
I'm so happy to hear you, my dear. I listened to you last week with David on the mark.
Thank you.
Again tonight. And trust me, you are on the good foot playing. You're making a lot of runs. And I believe that come the 12th, you're going to score big.
Yes.
But all I'm going to tell you, you guys got to make sure, keep your eyes on your list and make sure that people does not come on your list like you don't know. Make sure that you check your list good, because they got some people like to put names where it doesn't belong and put people to vote where it doesn't belong, and that's something that we got to stamp out. So we got to make sure that your lists are clean, and the people that are voting, make sure they live in the area where they're going to vote, because we got to be so careful with that. We got to keep our eye on that. I just want to thank you guys for keeping Nevis afloat, and make sure that whatever you do it for the best interest of the people of Nevis.
Absolutely.
I was born and raised in Gingerland, Raleigh to be exact. And let me tell you, I'm going to be a champion, and I'm going to continue to champion the cause for the people of Nevis, because we deserve the best, nothing but the best. You guys doing good, continue, and you have a good captain, and continue to work and keep your captain hand up, that come the day of election, we're going to see all 5 through Nevis, because the people of Nevis are smart and wise people. We're not foolish anymore. Gone are the days when you were foolish. God bless you. Have a good night.
God bless you too, sir, and you have a wonderful night. We are about 13 minutes to the 10 o'clock hour, and we're going to be in Craddock Road tomorrow, right on the border between St. Paul's and St. Thomas's.
Double portion.
So both of you are going to be featuring. And then on Friday evening, we're going to come back over to Bath. And then on Saturday night, we are going to be in the heart of Rollins. So we want as much as possible that people can come out and hear the message of the Concerned Citizens Movement. I know that we're going live, on Facebook and YouTube, and also on Van Radio. But it's always good when people come out and we could feel, the support.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good evening. Okay, we've lost that caller. Callers, we just have a few more minutes, so if you're going to call in, do it now, because I'm going to give our 2 co-hosts and our 2 candidates who are going to be putting their names on the ballot come Monday opportunity to do a little wrap-up soon. We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hey, good night, guys, again. Carl Bone here again.
Yes, brother.
Hey, guys, another thing. The lone representative for NRP was down here today on Freedom Radio. I realize that every time there is a election in Nevis, a few weeks before an election, or at least 8 months before an election, going up to there, they run down to Freedom Radio. What is happening in Nevis? Nobody is listening to them.
You just answer yourself. I was just about to tell you that not a soul in Nevis has studied them, and they can't get any traction anywhere in Nevis. So they believe that Freedom Radio is popular, so they believe that they're gonna get some listenership when they go on Freedom Radio. But I tell you, as soon as the host announce that our guest today is so and so, a lot of people stoops and they tune out, and that's me putting it in a nice way. Not a soul listen to them.
The other thing is, they have been doing that for years. That from the days of Corey, that from the days of Daniel, that from the days of Patrice, and before that, those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize they have not won an election and cannot win an election with that. They need to campaign in Nevis and campaign house to house, street to street, station to station in Nevis. They ever see CCM come down here on any radio station during any election, whether federal or local election, to campaign on any station? And what CCM does do is clean sweep in the federal, 4-1, the last time, sometimes 3-2, and we are looking at another clean sweep.
We went from 3-2 to 4-1, and it's gonna be 5-0 this time.
Yeah, and what I got to say to them, they keep talking about, I keep saying it to them, you all keep talking about within all the opposition all over the world. Let's talk about corruption, talk about fraud, talk about overspending of projects, overruns of projects, but they're not coming up in any numbers.
Yeah, evidence. Where's the evidence?
To bring the evidence.
Program, the Honorable Jefford, the Honorable Mark Brantley, in press conferences, every time they ask, the numbers are given. But when they come, they're saying all these things, but they're not producing their numbers, and they're not producing the numbers that CCM is saying. How the money is paid out, how the work went, why the work is stalled, what is holding up the project, what the progress of the project. The young lady today that won the seat in Navy, she said, oh, they went and put in some windows and doors and paint the extension of the hospital, but when you go inside, there is nothing ready for opening or inhabitants.
Don't worry with them. They don't understand construction, and they don't understand projects.
Everybody do that in construction. You will put in the doors and the windows. You will prime or paint the outside of the building.
But Carla, we have to wrap it up because you hear. We have to wrap it up because I want to give the two co-hosts the opportunity to wrap up.
I got to say to them, those are not going to be working.
Okay, brother, you hit the nail right on the head. Thank you very much. I want to give both of you an opportunity to wrap up, about 2 minutes each, and I'll start with you, Latoya.
Well, it was definitely a good night here with my colleagues, and you will definitely be hearing from us some more. I'm inviting everyone to come to Corico tomorrow. I will be sharing my plans and touching on a few things on the platform, but I want to say that while we are approaching the elections, I want the people to look at record. I want the people to look at the plans. In St. Thomas's, Nevis 5, I know I've been hearing the concerns, and we deserve better representation, and I can give you that. The current representative cannot do anything to help you, and I don't say it in any negative light. It is just facts. And so I am here. I'm one of you. I am ready. I've been ready to serve you. I've been proving that time and time again. I've been involved throughout in many different areas, been doing many different projects in St. Thomas's, not just because of the politics, but because I genuinely care and want better for the people of St. Thomas. I have provided a comprehensive agenda of my plans for St. Thomas's, and I've been sharing that with my constituents, and I've been asking everyone to provide feedback. We're all in this together. It's not me alone. And these plans, I would say, have come with me meeting and having conversations with the people. So I want to thank the people of Nevis 5 for their support, for welcoming me into their homes. And I can say, yes, I would say the journey continues, and it will definitely be, I don't like to use the word fight, but a fight to the end. And I'm asking everyone, and when the time comes on December 12th, to give me your support. There is no doubt that Latoya Bianca Jones will get things done for the people of St. Thomas's. So I would stop there for now until we meet tomorrow in Corico. And like I said, I'll be sharing more details, in-depth details about my plans, and I will also be touching on a few other topics. But stay focused. Focus on the record, focus on the plans, and continue to ignore the noise.
Thank you very much. Spencer?
Well, thank you very much, Troy and Latoya. It was indeed a pleasure for me to be here with both of you and our listeners and many callers. We have an election on the 12th of December. And I want to say to the people of Nevis and the people of St. Paul's that the Concerned Citizen Movement Party came to you in 2017 under the leadership of the Honorable Mark Brantley. None of us expected that in 2020 we would have had a global pandemic. I'm not trying to make any excuse. It is just the reality and the card that we've been dealt. But I believe even the harshest critic of this Concerned Citizen Movement Party, in a global pandemic, if they are honest and honest enough with themselves, they would say that, boy, these fellows was able to keep this thing together. They was able to keep this thing together. I have looked the length and breadth of the globe, and I have seen many countries with much more resources than the island of Nevis in human capital and financial resources, and they are still struggling. But I am certain that the island of Nevis is on the cusp of basically turning the corner. I want to say to the people of Nevis, now is not the time to change the government in the island of Nevis. Now is not a good time, because the Concerned Citizen Movement Party have proven that they have the interests of the people of Nevis at heart. Case in point, the Premier and this government and this cabinet would have appealed to the Nevis Reformation Party to join with us and stand with us in the fight against COVID, and they said no. That was, in my mind, the test to put country above self. And the Nevis Reformation Party said to the people of Nevis, no. And I want the people of Nevis to remember that. When it was time to stand up for the people of Nevis, the Nevis Reformation Party said no. This election is not about who like who or who, anything about personality. This is about the people and the island of Nevis. And I want to encourage all of the people of Nevis, on the 12th of December, there must be one choice in this election, and that is the 5 Concerned Citizen Movement Party's candidates that will form the next government in the island of Nevis. Come out to Craddock Road on Thursday night. I will once again expand on my initiatives, and I believe that all of the candidates will also expand on their initiatives for the island of Nevis. So I am inviting the whole of St. Paul's, the whole of Nevis, to be in Craddock Road. I believe we have enough space in Craddock Road to hold everybody. So I'm inviting everybody to come on out.
Thank you very much. It was indeed a pleasure to be here with both of you tonight. Latoya, Spencer. Hopefully, in the new dispensation, we'll do it again a couple times, because the people want to hear from you, and from time to time I'm here on the mark, and sometimes it gets lonely here in the studio. So it was so nice being here tonight, having the two of you. So as we wrap up the show tonight, I just want to say how good I feel having both of you here. And of course, we want everybody to come out to Craddock Road tomorrow night. We are in Bath on Friday. We're in Wallins on Saturday night. Everybody come out, and then on the 12th, election day, we want you to vote for your 5 CCM candidates. CCM is definitely the way to go. We don't have any other choice. That's our show for tonight. The show is going to be broadcast tomorrow at 1. Do have a wonderful night.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited.